Welcome back to Horror on Air, where we talk all things horror.
Can we talk about something that's not scary today, maybe?
Get the fuck out. On the air. So today
I didn't leave. Still here.
we are talking about character actors.
Character.
It's how it's spelled. Character actors.
The H is silent. Today we are talking about those unsung heroes of
The
movies in general.
the driving force behind the scenes in a way
Right.
of the movie.
Character actors. Now you can say, "Oh, everybody's an actor playing a character." Yeah, but you have leads, and then you have those characters in there that are meant to be memorable, but not steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
They're meant to push the story forward, but allow the lead to do their role.
Right.
And there are some magnificent motherfuckers
Yes, there are.
that are character actors, especially in horror.
A lot in horror.
Yeah.
So, which one would we like to start off with?
I think it's goes without saying, Mr. Dick Miller.
Dick Miller.
I mean, not only is his name fun to say, but Dick Miller is a fucking legend. Unfortunately,
long time.
we lost him in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But
Has it really been like 4 years ago already?
yeah, it has.
Shit.
But I mean, he was a writer. He was trying to make it as a writer of movies,
Yeah.
and just happened upon a role in a Roger Corman film.
Yep.
And pretty much stuck with that, and was in damn near every Roger Corman film for like 10 or 15 years.
Yes.
And he did have a couple of lead roles peppered in there. But I don't know. I think he always felt more comfortable kind of playing that side character that pushed the lead in the direction he needed to go.
He was fucking good at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even this, like when we talked earlier, and like The Howling, and was it 80?
Mm-hmm.
81?
81. 80, yeah.
I can't see what you wrote down.
Yeah, 81.
Yeah, well, he was the store shop worker, owner
Right.
of whatever. Just funny little comic relief.
Yeah.
An American version of Hurry Up and Buy.
Right. Have you ever seen Bucket of Blood from '59?
It's been a long time, and I probably couldn't tell you anything.
Now, it's one of his starring roles, but we have to bring it up because his character name in that was Walter Paisley.
Mm-hmm.
And that name kind of became synonymous with Dick Miller. He would, like, people ultimately, especially in the 80s, were purposely writing in parts specifically for Dick Miller to play. And he might only be on the set for a couple of days,
Right.
doing these little bit parts, but they'd name him Walt or Paisley or Walter, and it was always, it was kind of a shout back to
a
his
little
Bucket
tip of the
Blood.
hat.
Yeah. And then right after Bucket of Blood, they did Little Shop of Horrors,
Mhm.
which is fucking. I keep kicking the fucking table and shaking it. But like that's a more of a comedy, horror thing.
Yeah.
But his part in that, where he's just coming in and buying flowers to eat them,
Mm.
like standing there in the and he was actually eating fucking flowers. Like that's the funny ass part.
That is the dedication
Exactly.
that he had.
But
I'll be damned if I'm gonna sit there and eat a bunch of fucking flowers.
I love Bucket of Blood, but I love his character so much in that original Little Shop of Horrors, just because all he does is come. At one point, I think he pulls a fucking pepper shaker out and like shakes it and starts
Yeah.
picking fucking.
Mhm.
But he had Piranha. He was the
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 original
resort.
Piranha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
70,
Yeah, let's
78.
not get confused on that one.
But he was the resort owner
Yes.
and very much played the Jaws mayor. He didn't want to get in trouble for what was going on.
Right, yeah. We're gonna try to sweep
Um,
this fucking infestation of man-eating fish under the rug
Right.
and act like nothing ever fucking happened. Wasn't he in Chopping Mall?
Yes, he was in Chopping Mall. He was he was named Walt,
Yes.
and he was one of the custodians. He was a janitor that was cleaning up. He was cleaning up after hours, and the robots after the software got hit by lightning or whatever, or the hardware got hit by lightning and it messed them all up. It knocked over his bucket of water.
You clumsy son of a bitch! Look what you did. I ought to turn you into scrap metal for this.
May I see your identification badge, please?
Identification badge.
Do not make any sudden moves.
Sudden move. I'll give you a sudden move upside your head. What the hell is that? What is this, you worthless pile of junk, huh? Hey, look. I'm like you, I work here. See? Huh? See that? Oh, shit. I knew you bastards were gonna be trouble when I first brought you in here.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Gets the floor, looking all fried and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The Howling we talked about. That he was
Yeah.
the shop owner that had all the books and all the know-how, and he's acting like he really gives a shit. And he's like, "You gonna fucking buy anything or what?"
Right.
Yeah. Gremlins. He was fucking fantastic. Footermans or whatever. He was fucking great. Drunk as shit, walking out to his fucking plow or whatever to drive home from the fucking bar. And bickering. And I hadn't noticed this until the last time I watched, but his wife in Gremlins is the lady from Little Shop of Horrors. That works in the flower shop with the little main character guy.
Really?
Yeah, same lady.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not gonna
I had
look it up
never
right
put
now.
it together, but
That's pretty fucking cool. What else we have now? Terminator.
Terminator.
Yes.
In the
I forgot
gunslinger.
about Terminator.
Fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger blows him away.
Yeah, true that.
Night of the Creeps in '86. Do you remember Night of the Creeps? If you haven't watched that one in a while, if you've never seen it, you gotta fucking watch it.
I'll go back and revisit that one because
I
don't know if I've seen that or not.
I think it's free on like Plex or one of the free streaming apps. I think it's up there.
I'll have to go.
But that one, that's another one with Tom Atkins in it, by the way. Yeah. But they go down to the armory in the police department to get a flamethrower. And the cop who works in the armory.
Because every good police department
exactly
just has a flamethrower on hand in the back for, just that purpose right
Army
there.
surplus World War II flamethrower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're in the fucking trees. Whoosh.
It made sense to Dick Miller, or Walt, as they called him in that movie, because he was the officer who handled the armory. But the first movie I specifically remember him in is the last one I'm going to talk about right now, and that's The Burbs. Do you remember The Burbs with Tom Hanks?
Vaguely, it's been
He was the fucking trash man
yeah,
when they went out to check to see if there was bodies in the trash from the neighbors next door.
right.
The cool thing about Dick Miller is all of those movies we just said, except for maybe Bucket of Blood, he's basically himself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not to say he's a bad actor at all, because when he does a scene, especially something that calls for being scared or a dramatic, whatever, like he sells it. He sells it good, but he's himself.
Yeah.
Same as the next guy we're going to talk about, Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean Stanton.
No, not only a very talented character actor.
One of my favorite all-time movies.
Well, Christine.
Yeah.
Yep. He was it Detective Junkins or Lieutenant Junkins, or he was the cop.
Yeah, he was the cop,
Yeah.
And he was a fucking asshole cop too.
Yeah, but he was for good reason.
But yeah, I know for good reason.
He was right.
He was right.
He was Brett in Alien.
Yeah,
So he was
another good role.
First one to die from the adult alien. Escape from New York, which isn't technically horror, but it's John Carpenter, and he played Brain in that. This next one, the only reason I bring up is because it was written by Stephen King. It's not technically horror, but The Green Mile. Harry Dean Stanton, we just talked about a few horror roles. That dude, him and Dick Miller both are in the high 100s.
Shit ton of
as far as fucking credits and movies.
And that's just movies.
Right.
Like there were a lot of character actor things, a couple episodes
TV,
here and there of TV
yeah.
shows, TV series.
And we're talking about like from the late 50s and 60s on, like they did film and TV, so they stayed busy.
Damn right they did. What about Danny Trejo?
Okay, Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo's in a lot.
Yeah,
I love Danny Trejo.
He's fantastic.
He's himself in everything, whether it's a horror movie or a child's movie.
Right.
Like, I think it's funny because you can go from, he can go from Dusk Till Dawn, to Spy Kids.
Right.
And be just as menacing, looking in both.
Right. That's like, I like, here's the thing, he's always himself, but he's capable of he can be scary. He can be that character that can damn near bring you to fucking tears, like in fucking Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I hate it so much because it's very weird, his role in that movie, because he's a very sweet, gentle, worker of the Institute.
Right.
And he's always checking on young Mikey and, being nice to him and shit like that. That's really the first guy that gets, really theatrically fucking done in.
Yeah.
The attention. Well, yeah, he kills the two that are in there with, whatnot. But
it's like that, and that was a slow, painful, like dramatic death.
But it's fucking, like I was good to you, Mikey.
Right.
And it's like, man, fucking why? Like I would have just rather him get fucking stabbed and
right.
Dead. But fuck, that one sucked. The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell.
Right.
I think we talked about that last week. Right. Just reoccurred in both movies.
Right.
Well,
for a little bit in Three from Hell, he ends up getting fucking killed pretty.
Right. One of your favorites, Anaconda.
I'm not a fan of Anaconda. Like nothing about it is. I can't get behind that one.
Predators, Rise of the Zombies, Three-Headed Shark Attack, a lot of straight to DVD.
Oh yeah, a whole
movies.
lot.
If you have never seen Three-Headed Shark Attack or Two-Headed Shark Attack, fucking It's fun. It's fun. It's great B movies.
It's a B movie.
We
You
might
can watch it, enjoy it.
I mean, we might head over to Killer Bees in a little while and see if they have it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
La Llorona.
All the Dusk
you
Till
say
Dawn
it.
movies he's been
Yeah,
in.
every single one of them. But then a shit ton of action movies.
Oh yeah.
I always say his first movie was what, 83?
Yeah.
And he maintained like
He stayed pretty busy. Yeah.
3 to 5 movies a year. You know,
And now
for
he's got his own taco stand.
fuck.
What a
yes.
badass, man. I'm
That's
gonna
the
get
life.
tacos from Machete.
That's the life.
Machete.
Hey,
Um,
kill a bunch of motherfuckers. Taco stand.
Hey guys, I couldn't sleep. I had to come tell you about this movie that I've been thinking about, like nonstop. It's awesome, and I had to tell you about it, right? So I snuck in here after hours. Don't tell anybody, man. But it's right here, man. Right here, fucking Chopping Mall, dude. You ever seen Chopping Mall? Chopping Mall's great, man. Let me tell you about Chopping Mall. So like this mall, right, hires a security company that uses like these state-of-the-art robots, right? Like you got a name badge, you show them, and it's like, oh, okay, you're cool and everything. But then there's lightning hits the stuff, and then they start like messing up, and they like start taking people out, and like there's some of the employees are having like a party after hours and they're not supposed to, you know. Fucking Dick Miller's trying to mop the floor and he gets electrocuted, and then spoiler alerts, man, right? And like there's all kinds of like laser shit, and Kelly Maroney's in it, and Dick Miller, like I said, and the fucking creepy guy who gets killed hanging upside down in Friday the 13th Part 2. You know, the weird dude that keeps following the one chick around. But dude, it's fucking great. Like the best part about it is like these. That's not good, dude. Man. Oh, dude. Can't believe I forgot about the fucking robots, man. I was just talking about them. Oh, fuck. Uh-oh.
May I see your identification badge, please?
It's right here, man.
Do not make any sudden moves. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oh, shit, man.
Brad Dourif. If you've been around horror at all, you probably know the name. He is not only Charles Lee Ray in the first movie of Child's Play, but also the voice of Chucky
Yeah.
throughout the entire franchise. Even now in the series that comes on, he is still the voice of Chucky. He absolutely has stuck with that role, and that's a loyalty that most people don't have. My favorite role that he's in is playing the Gemini killer in The Exorcist 3.
Which I still haven't seen. Aren't you ashamed of me?
I'm not ashamed of you. A lot of people haven't seen it because, like, people like to say, well, The Exorcist is the only good one of those movies. And that's not true. I'm not saying 3 is as good or better at all, but it's a good fucking movie and ties into the first one.
Well, I think everybody watched the first one and went, fuck yeah. Then everybody heard about the second one and went, fuck yeah. And then everybody saw the second one and went, oh no.
Right.
And that just kind of.
And that killed it. And that's why if you look, it's The Exorcist, The Exorcist 2, The Heretic,
Mm-hmm.
and then William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3. So he put
Right.
he wrote The Exorcist freaking directed it, but he wrote The Exorcist. The Exorcist 2 is absolute shit.
Yeah.
He wrote The Exorcist 3 and directed Exorcist 3 and put his fucking name. So that was trying to. He actually didn't want to call it The Exorcist 3.
Right.
He wanted to call it something different because he knew that that was going to ultimately hurt it because the second one was fucking horrible. And it did. A lot of people still to this day haven't watched it because the second one sucks. If you haven't seen Exorcist 3, watch it. You got George C. Scott plays a police lieutenant, homicide lieutenant.
Mhm.
And he's fucking fantastic. I mean, he was old by that time. He had some age to it,
Yeah.
and he still killed that role. It was awesome. But it's these murders are happening, and they look just like they were by the serial killer that was actually put to death 15 years previous.
Right.
But they're identical MO, and the MO was never released to the public. Matter of fact, a false MO was released to the public. And these murders are happening, and the real MO is being copied. And it all, I'm not going to spoil anything for you on this because a lot of people haven't fucking seen this movie.
Yeah, I want to go and watch it.
But it ties into the first movie, and it ties in really well. And there are some parts that are cheesy and bad and everything, but overall, the story, and there are a couple of jump scares and some creepy ass shit that happens. It's fucking good. It's definitely worth the watch. So if you haven't watched Exorcist 3, Brad Dourif is fucking amazing. And from what I was listening to a podcast a few weeks back, and they were talking about Exorcist 3, and apparently everything was a reshoot because they didn't think another actor was supposed to come in and do scenes because I'm not going to over explain things because I don't want to ruin anything, but it's basically supposed to be two different faces that represent this killer that's in this mental hospital. Okay.
Okay.
So they weren't sure they were going to get the other guy in. So they filmed everything with him. Once they got the other guy in, they refilmed everything with him. And Brad Dourif himself said, all the original footage we did was better. And I can't fucking believe that because what's there is so good. But that's one of those movies where he really, really had a chance to shine, and he did it. But go watch that one if you haven't seen it. But yeah, so Chucky and the fucking Gemini Killer, Brad Dourif, great fucking actor. Where do we want to start with these next ones? Because these are gonna kind of segue into.
Let's start with Sid Haig, most famous for portraying Captain Spaulding, and Spider Baby.
But started way, way, way before.
Shit ton, and I feel kind of bad about that because like his career was almost gone.
His work had dried up quite a bit by the time he got the call from Rob Zombie.
Pretty much.
He did a lot of TV and movies, throughout the 60s and 70s, where he was just kind of that sad guy or a villain in a few TV show episodes and stuff like that.
A bunch of old westerns back in the day.
Westerns and some of the 70s
groove movies,
like Foxy Brown type movies and stuff like that. He did some cool fucking movies back then.
He did do a bunch of cool fucking movies, and I feel kind of bad because I didn't I was introduced to Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding.
Same.
And I think a lot of people were, but then I think even fewer people went and went back and looked
right,
through the archives and found movies like Foxy Brown and
Spider Baby,
right,
Bloodbath.
Bloodbath is so good.
I'll tell you one that he is definitely, because in the Devil's Rejects trilogy, he has kind of one of the lead roles, and that's an ensemble thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But he has kind of a lead role. He's got a big part in those movies. But I had never paid fucking attention. Years after both the first two movies of that trilogy came out, he was in Halloween 2007. Do you remember him?
No.
I'd never even paid attention. But when Dr. Loomis comes back and they go to the cemetery to find Judith Meyer's gravestone, he's the guy that works in the cemetery.
No
to
shit, you're
Yep.
right.
Yep. Fucking like it blew my mind the other day when I was going through this stuff, and I was like, "Holy shit, he was in fucking Halloween!" Because I racked my brain trying to remember who he was in that movie. Which, by the way, Brad Dourif, Halloween and Halloween 2, he was Sheriff
Yeah.
Brackett.
Yep.
Uh,
We're just putting all kinds of pieces of this puzzle together.
right.
Well, after Sid Haig, then we can roll right into Bill Moseley, probably most famous for Chop Top,
Right.
and
And
Texas Chainsaw 2.
and Otis
Yeah.
Driftwood and the Devil's Rejects. See how all these are
Right,
tied
yeah.
together here? It's crazy.
We're all kind of getting together so we can go.
Here's one that I hadn't known until fairly recently. Probably been a while since you've seen Army of Darkness.
Been a while, yeah, but I'm slightly familiar.
So, you have Evil Ash leading the Army of the Dead, and he has kind of a captain Deadite that he's talking to at one point.
It's Bill Moseley.
It's Bill Moseley.
Get the fuck out.
I am not shitting you.
That's
I was
pretty
fucking excited as hell to find that out.
I love him. I mean, I love him as Otis. I love him in a lot of things that he does, but I have a special warmness for Chop Top because it was such a fucking fever dream.
And did
Run on acid and LSD.
have you heard how he got that part?
No.
I love this because I just found watching fucking because me and you will go down a fucking rabbit hole on YouTube in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But it was actually at a convention, and him and Sid Haig are up there doing Q&A, and he was a writer. He worked for magazines and shit. He had nothing to do with acting, and this one guy he knew one day just blurted out Texas Chainsaw Manicure, and he thought it sounded funny. So when he got back to New York, where he was living at the time, him and his friends got together and went and put together a Leatherface outfit, and he dressed up like the hitchhiker from the first one, and they kind of made this parody movie called The Texas Chainsaw Manicure.
Best manicure ever!
Hey, that's great, honey. We should celebrate with some head cheese.
He had a buddy out in L.A. and had gone to visit him while he was doing a job out there, I think. And he had that VHS tape with him, and he showed his buddy the VHS tape. He was like, "This is fucking great. This is hilarious." He was like, "And you fucking killed it with the fucking hitchhiker, dude." Hey, look, my office is literally fucking across the hall from Toby Hooper. Do you want me to show this to him? And he was like, "Fuck yeah, show it to him. See what he thinks."
Right.
So he says, "Well, look, I'm going to show it to him." And he gave him Toby Hooper's number, his private number, and said, "Call him in like 10 days and see what he thinks of it." So he did, and fucking Toby Hooper was like, who the fuck is Bill Moseley? And he was like, "Texas Chainsaw Manicure, that's my movie that, And he's like, "Oh, it's fucking great. I love it. It's fucking awesome. Hey, who's the guy that was doing The Hitchhiker?" He's like, "Oh, that was me." He was like, "No shit." He's like, "Well, you know what? If I ever make a sequel, I'm going to keep you in mind." And fucking no shit. When it came time, they had written, the guy who wrote Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 called him and said, "Hey, I'm going to send you a script to read." So he sent it to him. He loved it. And he said, "I'll get back with you." And time went by and he never got back with him. All of a sudden, Canon Film Group, the ones who made Texas Chainsaw 2, fucking called him on the phone and said, "You don't have an agent. Do you want to negotiate your contract, or are you going to get an agent?" And he was like, "What the fuck is going on?" So literally, like, that's how it happened for him.
It's crazy that it took one guy to slip up on one word.
Right.
And that was That was it.
The rest is fucking history. He's a horror legend now, as far as most horror fans are concerned. I think
Yes.
you might still have people who don't know who Bill Moseley is. That
And those people are stupid and we don't associate with them.
Bill Moseley's done a shit ton of straight to home video,
Yeah.
straight to streaming, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And they're all fun. Even if it's a shit movie, I like seeing him in anything. Just the way he plays any character is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's another thing he said was the way he has to sit there and think about these characters, and these characters come to him a lot of the time in the form of like a very cartoony like characters.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes that and kind of plays with it. So I mean, can
Which
you not
means I
imagine
can
Chop Top as like a fucking cartoon?
Oh, I definitely could.
Right.
But I could, and like the animation of like the old Beetlejuice cartoon.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
That'd be cool as shit.
But it's weird though when you see because like the original Otis that you get in Corpses is definitely the cartoony fun.
Right.
I say fun extremely loosely. But then you compare it to Rejects and that one's not so fun. That one's very dark.
Right.
Very yeah. Run Rabbit.
But yeah, I mean he's really gifted actor in my opinion.
So,
I like him a lot.
and then was it lastly is
Well, we got two. We
we
don't have
got
to cover
we can
both
cover
of
we can
them.
cover them quickly though. We got Tom Towles.
Tolls, however you say it.
Yeah, I can't ever. I don't know.
He was originally a supporting character in the first thing I remember in it is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was House of a Thousand Corpses and that brief little cameo in Devil's Rejects because he got killed in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Right.
And then the deputy that Karen Black kills.
Yeah, and then also in the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, the 1990 remake.
Right, along with Bill Moseley.
He's Bill Moseley. Yeah, forgot to say that. Yeah, he was. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
That was Bill Moseley's role.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Tom Towles was what was his name? He was the asshole in the house that was arguing constantly with
the one that you were glad to see get got.
Yeah, exactly. The dad of that family.
Yeah.
That
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I can't either. But he played it well.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of everything he was in. If he was playing an asshole, you fucking hated him. If he was playing, somebody like he was fucking great just as a sheriff's deputy that was trying to figure out where those kids were in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Mm-hmm.
So very talented. And Dennis Fimple. I had seen him, I know in House of a Thousand Corpses, I had seen him before when I saw him on screen. But he looked so different in House of a Thousand Corpses.
He did.
But he was Grandpa Hugo in House of a Thousand Corpses. So, and you don't see him in any of the other ones because he actually passed away. They filmed that in 2000. Mm-hmm. He passed away in 2002. It didn't get released till 2003. So he never got to see how popular that movie got. But a shit ton. I mean, again, this is somebody that was around back in the day, like Dick Miller and all that stuff. So a whole lot of like Roger Corman type B movies that it might have hit a drive-in theater at some point.
Right.
But he did several. He did a movie called Bugbuster back in like '98.
I vaguely remember that.
He played a side character. It was a corny ass B movie, but I still find it fun to watch.
Most B movies are that. Yeah. They're just fun.
Creature from Black Lake was late '70s. This one I hadn't heard of, but it was a horror type. The Shadow of Chikara.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
And then Fangs was in there too. And that just goes to show you, like House of a Thousand Corpses and a few of the other ones we just read out, Night of the Living Dead remake and stuff. These were all ensemble casts.
Yes. Which is, for those that do not know, in hindsight, kind of like a whodunit to figure out who's really the main character of the film
Yeah, pretty much. You don't
in a
you don't
roundabout way.
know from Jump Street who that lead role is, and sometimes there is no specific lead role. They're kind of all lead role.
Right. Corpses was a very good, example of that because, you got Bill Moseley, you got Sherry Moon, you got Sid Haig, you got,
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson, who
Even the
dies.
victims, you don't know for sure who the
Right.
lead is because there's really not one. It's a story about every last one of those characters.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to these ensemble casts that we're talking about here, it's mostly made up of character actors,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of gives them a chance to really shine and show off because in the other movies they're trying to be memorable. They're trying to take what time they have and make it gold, but they're not trying to outshine the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would take away from the story. But in the ones we're talking about, these style, every character kind of has a piece of the puzzle, and it might not be as vital a piece as some other things, but it's always something that adds to the story, adds interest to the story.
Right.
And when it all comes together, is what you get. The final product is what you get. So like Alien, you don't have a clear lead until Ripley kind of takes charge.
Right, at least 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Right, and you got a good ensemble cast. She was not a big name then at all. Sigourney Weaver was not. And everybody else was pretty much character actors.
Yeah.
You had Veronica Cartwright playing Lambert, and she was fucking Invasion of the Body Snatchers in '78. What?
Say hello.
Hey man, I'm Al.
And my name is Ben Jaganoff. Fresh out of the hospital from that ass beating that candy ass tried to give me last week.
WPKV Action News.
Hey, there you go, Mike.
What am I doing, man?
Hey, you see these work? You can read, right?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Start off right here. Read that first line. Looking right into
Are
that.
you from Austria, man?
Fuck yeah, I am. That first line right
there. Evil Dead Rise and Salem's Lot are releasing April 21st. Man, I'm looking forward to both of those, man.
You and me both.
Evil Dead. I mean, Evil Dead, and then Salem's. Salem's Lot.
I know both of them. We should go. You know what? How about we go watch them together?
You really want to, man?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Also, don't forget, Pluto's TV halfway to Halloween celebration. April Ghouls is still going on.
Oh yeah, man.
Absolutely.
It's free. Pluto's free, man.
It is free, which makes it even better.
Do you do this one or do I?
You can do it there, Mike. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights 2023 tickets are now up for sale, and the parks it's what's that word, man?
Where are you at?
And I'll just skip 10 haunted houses and 5 scare zones, and there's no word on the themes of what they're gonna be, man.
And that's all right. Look at it this way. Glass half full to be a bit of a surprise for anybody.
I don't know what you just said.
Fair enough. Now we're going to move on to birthdays. I can see you following. Go down here. All right. Read that first one.
Marcus Nispel, man. He's producer and director.
There you go, pal. Good job. Look at you go.
And he had Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, man. That was a good one, man.
That
That
was
was
a good one.
that was a really and Friday the 13th in 2009, man. That was a good one too, man.
Yes, it
I like
was.
that one.
All right. Also, you have James Wood, Videodrome, John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah, James Woods, man. He and oh the well Eli Roth.
Oh, great.
He's
Great.
I've seen him in movies and he's also directed them.
Yes, he has.
Hostel 1 and 2, man. Cabin Fever and Green Inferno.
Yeah, you're doing so good. Look at you go.
Thanks, man.
Look, Tim Curry from It, the 1990
Oh
television
man, he's
series.
scary in that one, dude, man.
He is. Also, he plays the transsexual transvestite from Transylvania in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's accurate. It's accurate. Oh, Clint Howard, man. He's the ice cream man. And he's the clown in Three from Hell. Not the cool clown, but the other one, the asshole clown
Right.
who gets shot.
Also, we have Veronica Cartwright, Alien, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978.
Yeah, she was great in those.
Right.
What's that, man?
No, watch this. Watch this go down.
Oh, okay. Films released. Is that like for this time? Okay. Oh, okay. Bride of Frankenstein, man, 1935. It's a good one.
That is a good one.
I like
Very
that.
old, but it's still a good one. Also, we have Dawn of the Dead from 1979.
Oh, Rawhead Rex, dude. In 1987, you seen Rawhead? Rawhead Rex is awesome, man.
I have not seen that. Does your store sell that?
I'm pretty sure we got it. Yeah,
Awesome. I'll be there tomorrow.
yeah. We don't rent that one out. So,
Well, never mind then. All right. How about Brain Damage from 1988?
we definitely got that one, man, because that's fucking a horrible movie, man. Let me tell you. But I mean, it's fun. It's fun though, you know. So check it out. And then one of my personal favorites is Intruder, 1989, man.
And also in that same year, Pet Cemetery.
That was a good one, man. 89 was a good year, man,
It was a very good year. And you had Herman the Monster come back in a movie.
right?
Boy, was that great.
Man, this has been fun, man. Is there anything else to read, or is it?
No, there's nothing else to read. We just look in the camera and we go, thank you for watching.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You want to hang out, dude?
Sure.
Sweet, man.
I'm Ben Jerking Off.
And I'm Al, man.
Catch you next week.
Later.
But
The original Friday 13th.
yeah,
You don't have that clear lead. By the second one, you're almost from Jump Street. You're following that final girl,
right, because it essentially just picks up right where
right?
the first one ended.
And but the first one, they kind of were playing it like a whodunit the whole time.
Mhm.
So you didn't have a lead. You just had an ensemble cast of people that you didn't know.
But one of what's the next one you have wrote down is Evil Dead.
Mhm.
Again, a good one because nobody knew who the fuck any of those people were
Right.
from jump. There were no big names. There was no nothing. And then the only reason that we found out that we're following Bruce Campbell is because he was the only person that was still a person.
Right.
Essentially.
Cabin in the Woods. That's a newer.
It's a new one, and if anybody hasn't seen Cabin of the Woods, it is a must because it is fucking fun. And if you like pulling strings together, to try to tie everything together, you can almost tie every single horror movie to date to
Right.
Cabin in the Woods. And it is fucking just magical. I love it.
That's good. That ending is absolutely amazing.
It reminded me a lot of Scream because in Scream you've got what's his name?
Randy,
Yeah,
the horror movie guy.
yeah, but I was trying to think of what's his fucking real name?
Oh, Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy. Thank you. But yeah, it's that kind of vibe. During Scream, you have Jamie Kennedy throwing out horror movie stereotypes through the entire fucking movie, and then the movie plays out almost everything that he says verbatim.
What's that stupid fucking word people use nowadays?
Trope.
Mm-mm. No, trope is it's because both those movies joke on the tropes of horror movies
Right.
while being horror movies. So it's meta. I fucking hate that word, but they're meta. They're meta. They're self-aware. They're joking on themselves.
Back in my day, we just called breaking that the fourth wall.
Exactly. That's the cool way of saying it.
Right.
For all you dipshits saying meta out there, nah. I mean, say what you want.
No cap. I'm
gonna punch you in the nose now.
But it was in Scream. You got Randy Scream coming around. The virgin always lives, and at the end of the movie, he just walks from upstairs
Right.
like, I'm so glad I'm a virgin.
And Scream was very much an ensemble cast. You don't find out until the stuff starts coming out about Sydney's mom, and you get the history between her and Courtney Cox's character.
Mhm.
That's when you start to go, okay, I think we're following her.
Yeah, because even the marketing had Drew Barrymore's face all
Right.
over the fucking thing, and then boom, she's dead before her fucking popcorn finishes.
Right. In the first 5 minutes, you get to see her insides, and not the kind that you want to.
True that.
Well, some of you fucking freaks might be into that. So like,
Put on a snorkel and fucking hold your breath.
Steam.
Yeah, but what movie were we talking about first? Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods
Yeah.
is much the same way. You've got John C. Reilly's dad from Step Brothers.
Right.
And
the guy from I can't think of his fucking name, from Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Played Eric in Billy Madison. Funny motherfucker.
Yeah, but they're the same thing. They're ultimately, when you watch that movie, it will explain every single fucking horror movie
Right.
ever.
Um,
And they joke about it through the entire movie. Like that meme that was going around in the year 2020, like who had murder hornets,
right.
For, May, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That it came from Cabin in the Woods. It's a
Right.
great fucking movie. What we got next up here? We talked about Scream.
Demon Knight.
You haven't seen that.
That's you haven't seen the Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight?
No, at least not to my
It gets I mean,
recollection.
it's one of those 90s horror movies, so automatically
It's
like
cheese.
it gets a bad rap because it came out in the 90s. A lot of movies did, but it's actually a lot of fun, and it's everybody in it. William Sadler, another great character actor. He played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And he was in the first episode of Tales from the Crypt, the very first fucking episode. But he has a role in it. He's great. But fucking Dick Miller. Dick Miller plays Uncle Willie or whatever, or that's what they call him anyways. But his name's Willie. He's fucking great in that movie.
I'm trying to remember fucking
Thomas Hayden Church played Sandman in Spider-Man 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
the last Tobey Maguire
yeah.
Spider-Man movie.
Well, also the newest Spider-Man, because they all came together in
the fucking Marvelverse.
I watch everything. But yeah, Demon Knight's a good one, and I got that one, so you can borrow that one.
Hell yeah.
And watch that one.
Yeah, if I have seen it, it's been a many year ago, and I just don't remember
right
anything of it, like most movies from the 90s.
And that's so the ones that's just a handful of the movies that I could think of right off the bat that were kind of ensemble cast. One thing I want to touch on, like a lot of these lists I was reading was calling Halloween an ensemble cast, and Carrie an ensemble cast, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre an ensemble cast. Halloween, from Jump Street, you're following Laurie Strode. Like you know from the very beginning.
Yeah, because she's the only one fucking left in like the first 5 minutes.
Not true. Not true.
Well, which Halloween
you
are we
have-
talking about?
We're talking about 78.
Okay,
Um,
gotta say, because in
like her friends.
Rob Zombie's Halloween,
I mean, even even though people say it doesn't, it plays pretty close to the story of 78. It gives more backstory to Michael Myers, but it
Yeah.
plays pretty close. Like you still get those scenes where it's Laurie and her friends walking down the street,
mhm.
you know. So you still have a lot of that. It might not be, hit for hit, but you get the same general story out
Right.
of it.
Carrie's kind of, to me, self-explanatory that you're going to be following Carrie.
Yeah, like
It's in the title.
how I don't see how you can put that on as an ensemble cast. Yeah, there's a shit ton of people. There's a shit ton of people in every movie. So you can call every movie an ensemble cast? No. Ensemble cast is where there's no clear immediate lead. There's a whole lot of really good actors that are playing until you find out who that lead is, or they're all kind of the leads.
You could argue Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You almost don't know who the real bad guy that we're following.
Bad guy or good guy.
Right, in the first
It's a
movie.
good guy. Bad guy or victim.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense. Bad guy, good guy.
Yeah.
But it is extremely unclear who to because even if you look at, like Nightmare on Elm Street, for example, it's kind of clear, at some point in that movie that we're going to be getting behind Nancy and following Nancy through this shit.
Fairly early on.
Right. But even though you find yourself from, at least the second Nightmare on Elm Street on getting behind Freddy.
Right.
No matter what happens.
Right.
There's that person to get behind, and you don't really have that in Texas Chainsaw 1. There's just there's a whole lot of shit going on between a whole lot of people.
Right. And
that's why I would argue that you could almost make that an ensemble cast movie.
And my argument, I don't disagree with anything you said. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go further upon that and say that the characters don't have enough to give to the story to be real character actors. And I love the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. However, there's not a lot of story there.
What do you need, though? Like, you got everything that you need.
You got everything that you need for what?
A good fucking movie.
For a slash 'em up. That's what you have. You have meat for the saw. That's what you have. The fact that she gets away at the end is pure fucking, like, she just, like, is flipping the fuck out and is somehow able to get the strength to get fucking loose and jump out a goddamn window and take off running.
Which kind of makes her a final girl.
It does make her a final girl. But what did she provide for that story other than being just one of the people in the van and happening to survive?
Somebody to get behind.
That's my outlook on it.
Somebody to come up with one of the best endings in fucking horror movie history. Her covered in blood, screaming while you've got Leatherface with the nice symphony music, just fucking.
Don't get me wrong. In spite of what I'm saying,
I could put my thumb in my butt over that scene.
And in spite of what I'm saying, this movie turned out fantastic, which is why you never see this happen again, hardly. How many other movies that are that loosely put together turn into fucking masterpieces like that did?
Napoleon Dynamite.
True. But that was pure lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, you're never going to see Napoleon 2.
Jesus Christ. I'm talking about Texas Chainsaw.
Tina's still not eating her dinner. After all these years.
She
Um,
live, mom. Um, but
No, yeah.
so that's kind of my argument, and I completely understand anybody who disagrees with that and does call it an ensemble cast. But none of the cast really provided any story other than, "Hey, we're here to get cut up," and that's where you get more story, at least more um, better portrayal of who they are from Leatherface than you do almost any character in the van. I think the only other one who gives as much of a portrayal, and they're talking, they have talking roles. Leatherface is going and shit. That's it.
I make that same sound.
I don't want to hear. But they have speaking roles. The only other one that you really start, and it's because you fucking hate him, is Franklin in the goddamn wheelchair. Talk about why.
I hate that
Fuck.
guy. I'm glad he can't use his fucking legs.
Jesus. But that's my argument on that. And like I said, if you call it, that one I have no problem. The others, like it's fairly obvious it's not just an ensemble cast. You have somebody you're following from Jump Street, and
Right.
those other ones. So,
Chop top, everybody.
right. But I mean, yeah, that kind of finishes us up on the character actors. Basically, this was just like we like to do the talk about B movies and bring that stuff up so people watch them. Start paying attention to these people that are really fucking good in some of these movies.
Right.
These side characters that, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't know X, Y, and Z to really understand the end of the movie or something like that,
Yeah.
They're there for a reason. Like I said, they all have kind of a piece of the puzzle. And it might be a little piece, but it's going to make the story more interesting.
What's that fucking what's that game that if you're like really good at movie, like within 7 movies you can tie any actor back to like Kevin Bacon or fucking Kevin
6
Spacey?
Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, is it that? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd almost be willing to say that you could do the same with Dick Miller.
I could guarantee you because that dude is tied to everybody.
Exactly. I bet you could do it in 5.
I bet you more so. It should be 6 Degrees of Dick Miller.
Right.
But because Kevin Bacon is a bigger star,
His last name is Bacon. And who doesn't love bacon?
That gives him points alone. But
Vegans don't like bacon.
But Dick Miller's
Nobody
name
cares
is Dick.
about that.
So, and I like saying Dick.
It'd be great if his last name was Beater.
And with that, we're
Yep, that concludes this week's episode of us rambling on about shit that we find interesting.
Yeah.
So,
as far as first off, you can look up stuff on all these character actors we've talked about. Look into some other ones as well because they're great across all genres. There is a documentary that if you like the stuff we were talking about with Dick Miller and everything, it's called That Guy Dick Miller. It's free on like any streaming service right now, just about. I watched it on Tubi last night and thoroughly enjoyed, hearing about all the fucking movies and shit that he had done. So
yeah.
check them out.
Yeah. And like always, prove us wrong in comments.
Right.
Add things to comments.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, help feed and clothe us. And with that being said, we will see you next week. See you later.
Later. Andrew Bush.
Like,
He hasn't seen his dick in years.
has not. It's fucking terrible. I just
Um,
hope and pray every time I go take a piss.